Founding of Yamato Country, Japan, Yap. Treasure of Wisdom Beginning, Kaibyaku, number 3 January 18, 2023, original, first issue March 3, 2024 written by Daisuke Murai, also known as County. By the way, I have never formally explained the etymology or origin of Yamatokoku. First, I'll start declassing from there. Before that, please be careful. I don't want to use the terrible characters of the Cabal language, which are completely inappropriate kanji that have been forcibly distorted by the Cabal. First, I will write down the revised characters that I will use this time. Dyed Brain 2. In terms of the era, it is extremely old. It would be easy to irresponsibly and unilaterally end the discussion by saying, I have explained the modern characters. We, who are deeply immersed in the modern brain-educated society, are too far removed from the history that has been taught to us by our brain-stained and polluted knowledge, so I will omit the number of years. Before that, let's declass a little. The time in the genesis of this planet, Tenjin era, is different from the regulations, laws, concepts, and principles of modern time. So the communication power and transmission power in modern Japanese and writing is at best 10. I can't even tell you the percentage. Understanding this is like explaining quantum dissociation and infinity, and in the polluted and dead brains of modern humans, red alerts are likely to go off, causing rejection and misunderstanding. However, I will try my best to convey it simply and vaguely. As we move from the present day to the ancient times when this star was born, Hollow Bullet, the span of 1 hour on this modern planet is not only sensual. But Hollow Bullet, imagine that time itself becomes limitless along with the surrounding environment, multiplying by 10, 100, or 1000 times. Please do it. That image is closest to reality. Therefore, awakening is no longer possible for dead thinkers such as broken and crazy ruler object physics science with flat, dyed brain thinking that has been enslaved by modern-day villainous rulers. Just like the coronavirus vaccine death procession, there are big problems that can and cannot be understood. No matter how much we try to reach out to the swamp of polluted brains, those people themselves are being swallowed up by the swamp of poisonous brains, and they no longer realize that they are suffering and struggling. Therefore, it is difficult, frustrating to convey important truths using only words and modern characters. Especially for people like me, who have poor communication skills and lack the ability to communicate in modern languages. The moment I open my mouth, there is a barrage of misunderstandings. And it is no exaggeration to say that only 1 in 1000 people will understand me correctly. To be honest, for someone like me, who is an idiot, I can't help but think of this kind of writing as some sort of punishment or bullying. Moreover, I am writing this while being arrested due to a complete misunderstanding, being salted without salt, being pickled in sugar, and being unfairly detained for more than a year in a small room with only cold water and a wash basin and toilet. So writing this is a very difficult task. By the way, together with the surrounding environment mentioned above means gravity 1/12 to 1/160th, 1600 types of light energy, the electromagnetic field is infinite colors, the main component of the atmosphere is hydrogen. The etheric body of quantum silicon is the main. The time in the universe is 1/1000th to 100 million, so long that time does not exist. At that time, there was actually a world on this planet that was free of all the sufferings of modern times and was forever filled with Izeo Kufuku and all kinds of joy. This was the great natural law of the ultra-ancient world environment, and it continued to exist in a real world. This is true no matter what anyone says. At some point in the ancient past, we will adjust the timing, disclose, and explain all of this, so please look forward to it with confidence. A certain alien star race, Na'an race, group has reduced the proportion of stars that have enjoyed the long-standing cosmic happiness and benevolence providence to the bare minimum. Continuous suffering for the sake of some evil and foolish purpose amplified the energy of destruction. They began to reverse the providence of this planet. This should never happen. These were the most important matters that all human species must protect and prevent with their lives. To that end, about 2,926,000 years ago, after receiving a divine edict, the emperor said, Subaru, Sumeru, Sumera, equals from now on, until 2,920,000 years from now, there will be continued happiness, is reversed into continuous suffering, he said. In order for everyone to continue to prevent this from happening in harmony and harmony with oneself and others, the name of oneself and the period of the reign should be made. Hollow circle U, hollow circle Ga, hollow circle Ya, hollow circle Fu, hollow circle Ki, hollow circle A, hollow circle E, hollow circle Zu. He dared to stigmatize it and reprimand it with love. The meaning is open hollow corner bracket hollow circle U rightwards double arrow space hollow circle Ya rightwards double arrow God hollow circle Ga rightwards double arrow Me. Hollow circle Azu rightwards double arrow. The providence of happiness and benevolence is not met. A demon enters and happiness and unhappiness are reversed. There are also other translations, but they all have the same meaning. From now on, let's take a close look at a simple diagram A and look at the origin and era of Yamato, God's true capital. It is much older than the Ugaya dynasty, 2.92 million years ago. In other words, the origin and era of Yamato is from the 7th Tenjin era to the 1st Sumera Makoto, emperor of the Upper Ancient Period. This was also known as the Age of Divine Trees. When gravity was less than 1/12, the atmosphere was mainly hydrogen, and time was cosmic time. These historical facts will likely come to light in the future. Wait a little longer. Everyone, I have included a schematic diagram of the chronology. All of a sudden, this credibility has become extremely weak. Just this is good. From there, enjoy investigating various things until you are convinced of the truth. By the way, our great senior Yap Hollow Circle D's Takeuchi Kiyomaro was not the kind of man who would tell lies or hoaxes even after he died. He was a master of martial arts, had an honest and upright personality, did not follow the iron rules of the Kabbalah Shinto world, did not do business with the political, business, or government world, and did not accept any foolish rules imposed on the weak, and caste, etc., rejected and hated. Finally, after nearly 3,000 years, with the arrival of the godless world, the signal of Kaminashi, the ancient Na-Ann Society, Black Lodge, Ishua, Hatakara Kabul, Kamo Kabul, Japan Handler Cross Society Lodge, etc. For the sake of the descendants of the few pure Yamato gods left in the Yamato country of Japan, all the good and pure lives scattered throughout the world, and my comrades, Yaps. Although Takeuchi Kiyomaro is a member of a branch family, he has unearthed over 4,000 items from hidden treasures scattered across the country, including the history of this planet that has been passed down in secret since ancient times, Sumera, Yap, etc. It was designed so that everyone could know and learn equally. They were enshrined together in several shrines, and he made it public. 90% of the main family is on the Cabal side. Naturally, the world rulers completely destroyed the true, super ancient history that had existed for a long time before the signal of the age of Jinmu, godless world, Kaminashi. We have mastered the foolishness of the great evil ritual, genocide wars, sacrifices of billions of sufferings, that transform the providence of eternal happiness into a providence that is the exact opposite of the providence of eternal happiness. Concentric circles Holy Spring, concentric circles God's Ball, concentric circles the portal system, etc. were contaminated with the blood of many sacrifices and were destroyed in reverse. They cunningly continued their truly horrifying acts. They have built a global society of providence, evil, and despair of the S-ring, Satan ring, of suffering up to this point. S-ring economic governance system, S equals Satan equals snake, United Nations, WHO, etc. It is a world organization consisting of 666,000 members. Neither gods nor men, evil ones, are if the history and official history of Japan, the world-class country of Yamato and Japan's profound, ancient, and immense lineage of all ages, becomes widespread, it could lead to a serious situation, he feared. Each time, the official history has been covered up based on instructions set by associations around the world, and emergency suppression similar to a witch hunt has been carried out. They mobilized the corrupt police, Mito, special high school police, killers, and since December 1930, many good people, including Mr. Kiyomaro, who is a hero, have been accused of crimes such as the blasphemy incident. Comrades were unjustly detained and killed. This is something that should never be tolerated. This incident is just the tip of the iceberg of stupidity under bad authority. Kiyomaro, who was beyond the realm of a madman, survived the harsh torture that was said to result in his death 10 times. He died and came back to life 3 times. Kiyomaro fought for 15 years against the Cabal judiciary, and after performing many impossible miracles, God's techniques, he finally survived and was acquitted. However, 4,000 items were confiscated in the basement of the Grand Inquisition, all Illuminati, 13 Bloods, and the DuPont Forbidden Archives, Vatican second basement, including 4,000 authentic historical records from the super ancient times of the Universal System, and 140,000 items built on this planet. Several types of blueprints such as details of the 4,000 Iwasaka pyramids, details of space technology, blueprints of 47 types of sky spaceships, divine spiritual power attunement, divine edict seed collection, divine people, hydrogen, silicon, ether, crystal, plant, etc. The court and the government have notified that the documents, such as detailed drawings of crystal bodies, alien species from other races, etc., as well as cosmic wisdom texts such as DNA, quantum, photoelectric consciousness, etc., were burned down without being returned. This is an incident that should never be tolerated. These are the treasures of this planet, one of the major keys to the higher dimensional evolution of humanity, and one of the matters in which everyone should take responsibility. Also, around the same time, many wonderful ancestors who revealed the truth were murdered by the police, special high police, prosecutors, and cabal organizations at the time. World in Japan, ancient Iwasaka Amaterasu Hinokami ritual temple Futo, space. Solar Gipposu energy yield increased storage Hiramide, pyramid, of quantum exchange movement to and fro, Katsutoki Sakai, one of these researchers, is one of them. Here, I would like to tell you a little about the Pyramid of Giza, which everyone is familiar with, before it was destroyed. When the pyramids at Giza were built, they were entirely made of white marble and red marble. A red Hinamaru, sun stone, was placed at the top. During the day, there were 16 rays in total, x2 equals 32, with 4 rays on each side from the apex, in red, white, and white stripes. Hereafter, abbreviated picture. The contents of this illustration are recorded in a letter written by the murdered British researcher Edgar. These dates roughly match the chronology of the pyramid's construction recorded in an ancient document owned by Takeuchi Kiyomaro. It has a very ancient and profound history. By the way, the CIA server also has a lot of data on Shangri-La, including artifacts, which Snowden is probably well aware of. There is chronological glyph data for this star, which is also quite close to the Kiyomaro chronology. In other words, the points that various places, people, organizations, etc., that have no contact in each place naturally connect in a circle. The reality is that these are the only things that make it difficult to peek into and know the true truth of official history. In addition, by practicing just a few of the ancient teachings of Yamato, such as the person's thoughts, remaining thoughts, plaques, attunement, and Tama motion knowledge, if the timing is right, by utilizing the many powers of Sujin, rightwards double arrow, Mr. Manakami hollow bullet Mina Kanushinokami hollow bullet Suishin Kongan Omakami, regardless of 70% of the person's current situation, we can sympathize with the person who was no longer present and have a dialogue. Many things become possible, such as consciousness linking and mental communication. Etama edera etel, there, the true and tremendous power of water, which occupies 70% of the body, which continues to be hidden. Don't worry, we will reveal it at a later date, however. It should be noted that in 80% of cases, in synchronic perception, one accepts the other person's experiences of suffering, sadness, pain, etc. directly in one's own body and mind. There is such a big risk. Most beginners, in modern times, will die or go crazy. Please have someone with knowledge sit with you until you get used to it. Asterisk in today's day and age, even a short period of time, a person's personality can change for the worse. Asterisk in modern times, Wi-Fi, bad radio waves, mobile electromagnetic waves, etc. are major obstacles to synchronic perception. Please be aware that if you do not get the consent of the person who will absolutely agree with you, you will be in trouble. This puts a burden and risk on your mind and body. I don't think there will ever be a lesson like this. The person who perceives the same person may feel overwhelmed by the many feelings of pain and sadness that the person has experienced. With everyone's joy at the beginning of the world in my heart as my energy, I will continue to do my best, unafraid of taking risks and moving forward together with everyone. The star of the gods was the Yamato star, same meaning. And it was decreed by the gods to be the capital of that star. The desecrated books that are now forcibly designated to the An group and other ancient societies, Isis, Isaiah, Cabal, Masonic Lodge, etc., which are considered to be the official national history of this country, were compiled during the Nara period. These recent books are called Kojiki and Nihonshoki, and are said to be Japan's oldest national history book. But it is like putting your forehead on a large rock and proclaiming that this is our star. As you say, it is impossible. We, the ancestors of Yap, Sumera D, lived on the ancient earth, which was inconvenient for the rulers to permanently rule the world. Under an extremely brutal occupation control system even worse than GHQ after the ancient Atrim War. They confiscated, destroyed, concealed, forged, falsified, and edited all of the history, culture, technology, writing, the science of subjectivity, and the wisdom of the cosmos of the wonderful ancestor gods of Yamato. As a result, Japan's ancestors continue to be murdered. And the ancestors of Japan use many codes and methods that cannot be caught by the strict surveillance network of cabal censorship to protect their future beloved descendants. He stepped up and left behind a true history. We will be the first in the world to accurately reveal the true history of the earth. With all of our ancestors' strong love and feelings of compassion and justice since ancient times. By the time this series reaches its final stage, he will surpass all the great pseudo-scholars, pseudo-doctors, pseudo-religionists, and other objectifying pseudo-scholars that have come before. First of all, I sincerely hope that you will be able to complete the core of the study of subjectivity, and that you will be guided down the path of light, Kakuchiko, to enlightenment. By the way, concentric circles, the first generation of Tenjindai, first generation Omakami, is Moto Fumikurai no Minonashi Omakami. Concentric circles, the first generation of Yoko, Amahinomoto, Ashikabika Minushi. Mahikaru Amatsuhitsugi Amino, Sumera Makoto, concentric circles, first generation Ugaya Fuki Azazu, Mahikaria Amatsu Hitsugi Amenos Muramakoto, hollow circle, secret reign period, 2,838,042 years, currently, wow. Next, what is the Q in Yamato Q? Why Q? I will tell you that. Everyone, don't be surprised, tilde wahaha. See you later, tilde. https://www.yamatalk.net/https://x.com/tosuwo77 https://www.youtube.com/@tosuwo2 https://rumble.com/user/tosuwo